backup. He's a little bit of a newsworthy backup, which I'm not a fan of, but we'll talk about that more. We've got an amazing battle between two stars that Christine will have in 30 minutes, which I think is fascinating.
I wonder what side you're going to take.
Well, regardless, it's good.
It's
really good. So we have a great show today. Let me just start with this. Is that certain seasons aren't real long. The NFL season, the college football season, the MLS season, they're not that long. But then baseball's long, and NBA season is long. And so what happens when you get these really long seasons is like really great players pick their spots. Believe it or not, Derek Jeter wasn't as amped up in June against the Indians as he was in October against the Red Sox, okay? So it's the reality of these long sports and these long days and these long seasons, people pick their spots. And I've said for years, and Christine's been on this, and she's absolutely right, LeBron's a message sender. Is that he's doing stuff through Instagram and social media and through his advertisers, and LeBron's a message sender. And some messages are tedious, silly, and vanity-driven, and other messages mean stuff. So last night, LeBron sent another message, and that message is, coffee is for closers, and the Toronto Raptors are team decaf. Once again, the LeBron asteroid killed the baby dinosaurs. So here comes Toronto. They want us to believe in them. They're so very Canadian. Even their biggest fan, Drake, is the suburban rapper. They're nice, and they've got depth, and the baby dinosaurs are not ready for the moment. The LeBron asteroid killed the baby dinosaurs again. And the thing is with Toronto, they're a number 1 seed only in name. They're really a 4 or a 5 seed, and that's in the East. Let's be honest about this. Gordon Hayward and Kyrie don't get hurt. The Celtics are the number 1 seed. LeBron, even with the reboots, probably a 2 seed. John Wall out, now a minutes restriction. Washington, probably a 3 seed if John Wall's healthy. And then if Markelle Fultz wasn't missing, didn't have a shoulder issue, or whatever it is psychologically he can't shoot, it's very possible that Philadelphia, a 4 seed, edging to be a 3, would be a solid 3 seed. Toronto is a number 1 seed in name only. And we've seen twice now in the last couple of weeks the Raptors come into town, and they want these games. They've lost 13 of 17 to LeBron. They want these games. And they can't win these games. Last night, Jose Calderon ate the Raptors alive. The problem with Toronto, their number 1 asset is depth. And depth in the playoffs is overrated because coaches all shorten the bench, and you don't play backs-to-backs, so everybody's equally rested. They don't have a closer, does Toronto. They don't have a go-to guy late. They shoot a lot of threes, don't hit a bunch, and last night they couldn't stop LeBron or Jose Calderon. They are a number 4 to 5 seed. LeBron sent another message. And he does this. He picks his spots, just like the Warriors did last night. He picks his spots. And there's one of these games last night. It's on television. Everybody's watching. It means something. There's a psychological advantage. And he, again, squishes them. I love Drake. Drake is the perfect number 1 fan for the Raptors. He's nice. He's likable. People root for him. This team is so Canadian. Who hates him? They're impossible. They have a nice coach. They have nice players. They have depth. They let everybody have the ball. But in the end, the message was sent. Coffee's for closers. The Raptors are team decaf. Let me shift to this. So last night, I told you about this yesterday on the show. Little NFL here. I told you about this yesterday on the show that, I love the draft. And I've always loved the draft. And the draft has always meant a lot to me. And I've got if you go to my phone, of the 50, 60 sources I have, 40 are football sources. And last night I had the great fortune, not going to tell you who it is, what team it is. I had a GM. I had a dinner with a general manager in the National Football League. Third such dinner this pre-draft. And I'm just asking questions. And I saw this story come out today that the Patriots, who made that trade, Brandon Cooks, the headlines are all saying this morning, now the Patriots can go get a quarterback with one of their 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. I am here to tell you the Patriots do not have their draft board made up yet. Because as I asked the GM who I had dinner with last night about his draft board, and he said, Colin, nobody, not even Cleveland, has everything finalized yet. He goes, fans think all we do is the draft. It's 30% of our job. Fans think we have the draft all laid out. No team right now has all their picks figured out. They're still doing work with scouts, regional scouts, national scouts. So the headlines are, Patriots now going to get a quarterback. That cannot be confirmed. But what I'm about to tell you can be confirmed. And much like LeBron, I believe, this is my theory, Bill Belichick is sending a message. Now, we all know Belichick, this has been published now, was furious when Bob Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, made him trade Garoppolo. Everybody downplayed it. Multiple published reports from even those inside and around the Patriot team as beat reporters, it ticked Belichick off. And Kraft sided with Tom Brady. Look at Tom's numbers, Bill. Tom has won his Super Bowls. Look at the Super Bowl against Atlanta. He's still amazing. So here's what New England has done. I am supposed to believe this is a coincidence, that in the last 4 to 5 months, when Brady and Belichick have now a published and well-documented festering fracturing issue, Belichick has let Tom's number one running back go, Deion Lewis. His number one deep threat yesterday is now a Ram, Brandon Cooks. His backside protector, Nate Solder, is now gone. Cameron Fleming, who was the starting right tackle at the end of the year, gone. And because Julian Edelman was out, who was his number one playoff receiver last year, Danny Amendola, they let him go. 5 key offensive players have all been allowed to walk out the door. So that means Tom Brady goes into this year at 40 with his 2 best offensive pieces, 32-year-old Julian Edelman off an ACL surgery, and the not physically reliable Gronk. If one of them gets hurt, Tom Brady has never had a football team where he will have to pull it more than this year. Sacked more, pressured more, less home runs on a deep ball, less of a running game. What does it mean? Colin, what are you saying? I'm supposed to believe that it is a coincidence that his best running back, his left tackle, his best slot receiver, his best deep threat, his right tackle, bye-bye. Gosh, wish we could have kept you. Wish we could keep you. You know what that is? In 1 year, Brady's numbers are going down. And Belichick's going to go to Bob Kraft and say, we're finally seeing his age. Because Tom's been fooling us with age. Unless you really go into the numbers, comes back against Atlanta. Last year, you look at his numbers, there's no erosion. But if you go inside him like Belichick does with data, there is proof that in November, December, January, Tom is coming down. 5 valuable resources out. And you know what that GM told me last night about the NFL draft? Well, what do you know? It's a great draft, he said, but it's the worst wide receiver draft in years. There is no help now that Brandon Cooks is gone. Now that Danny Amendola is gone. You're not getting it in this class. Never forget the final episode, Tom versus Time. Gisele Bündchen. Remember? Gisele Bündchen said this, and Tom let it stay in the documentary.
These last 2 years have been very challenging for him in so many ways. And I think he just wants, he tells me, I love it so much, and I just want to go to work and feel appreciated and have fun.
I want to feel appreciated. And do you remember 2 days later what Albert Breer, who covers the Patriots, said about that clip?
the one thing that Bill Belichick has to do, he has to repair the relationship with Tom Brady. I'm sure you guys saw the end of Tom versus Time. He had full editorial control over that. If they had fixed it in the last couple of weeks, he could have gone to Gotham Chopra and said, you know what, take the part with Giselle saying he wants to feel appreciated. Take that out of there. We don't need that in there. That's still in there. That means the problem between Brady and Belichick isn't fixed yet. And I'm not saying they need to go out and have beers together after games. I'm not saying they need to go to dinner during the week. But they need to get their relationship level again.
Deion Lewis, Brandon Cooks, Nate Solder, Cameron Fleming, Danny Amendola, weak NFL receiving draft. Gone. Belichick wants the power back from Tom. And the only person in that organization that can say no to Bill is Kraft. After this season, Tom's numbers dip. Belichick finally wins for the final time the battle of who really controls the franchise. Good stuff today. Absolutely packed. Got a call right after the show yesterday from somebody who I deeply trust. And the very latest on Odell Beckham Jr. And depending on your opinion of Odell, the truth may hurt. That's coming up. It's a fact of life. Attorneys are expensive. You're likely to pay, I can't even believe this, $300 an hour. Lord, that is, wow. Don't get in trouble. Here's the good news. Smart business owners are turning to LegalZoom. Over 2 million Americans have used to start their business with LLCs and corporations and more. But even after your business is set up, LegalZoom can help you out. Lease agreements, changing tax laws, contract reviews, it's all part of running your biz, and it's doubtful you're an expert at that. You're an expert at the business, but not all of the business minutia. LegalZoom has created a business legal plan. They have vetted independent attorneys and tax professionals, and they are available in all 50 states. They're not a law firm. Instead, you pay one low upfront price. Right now, check out LegalZoom's